In this video, we are going to configure Redux Toolkit in our application. If you go to redux-toolkit.js.org, this is the official documentation. So click on Get Started and scroll down, and we are going to install by using npm. So copy that and back to our terminal, shut down, and then paste that. And we need to install React Redux also as our binder, and paste that and hit enter. Alright, it has finished. So let's go ahead and create a folder for Redux as Redux. And inside, we're going to have two folders. One folder is going to be the store, and then the next one is going to be the slices. So what is the store? The store is going to contain the global state, and this slice is going to contain the logic to make changes to our store. So let me create the file as store.js, and for the slices, I'm gonna have one file called of_slices, and the slice simply means they are the piece of state that are unique. But for our case, we're going to have only one slice, and that is for authentication. In the same way we did for React query. In case we are using Redux, we're going to have a slice for post and a slice for users, slice for categories, and the rest. So here we have only one slice. So let's go ahead and then create the slice. Remember, the purpose for Redux over here is not to make HTTP request or asynchronous request. So let's go ahead and then configure that. First, we will need what is called create slice. Create slice is a function in RTK, which means Redux Toolkit. That lets us define a piece of the application state along with the reducers and actions. A slice is a collection of Redux reducer logic and actions for a single feature in our application or in your application, typically defined together in a single file. So over here, we are going to create the slice. And the slice here is going to be the authentication slice. So here as const of slice, which is equal to create slice, and then pass in this object as our configuration. So inside here, we need to have what is called the initial state, and then the action type. So here provide name, and this name is going to be off, and it can be anything. And this name is similar to keys in React query. For use query, we call something query keys. And for mutation, we have the mutation key. And for Redux, we call it as name and provide the value as that. As you can see, the pattern for React query and Redux are almost the same. The next one is going to be the initial state for our application. For this one, it's going to be an object. And for this one, we are going to manage the authentication status of a user. So here, I'm going to specify what is called user auth, and that is user authentication. By default, it is null. So here, we are going to update this one using action. And that is, as soon as a user logs in, we are going to take this one and then update the initial state. Alright, so after this, you're going to have what is called the reducers as an object. And inside, you're going to specify the actions. So reducers are going to take the action and in the current state to update the store. And that is the initial state here. So here, we are going to create one action called is logged in or is authenticated. So here as is authenticated. And you can name it whatever you want. So here, we're going to assign to a function as that. That is callback function. And inside here, we have access to what is called the previous state. In this case, this one. And also we have what is called the action. the action is going to contain the payload from the request that we are going to make. So here we have the previous state, in this case the one in our store or inside the initial state here, and then the action is going to update the state. So here we are going to update the user of. So I will say that state.userOf, and we have the current data on a property called action.payload. So here as action.payload, and that is it. So next one is, let's create one for logout. At the moment we haven't done the logout at the backend, but we will get there very soon. So let me create the logout, and we will finish up after the backend implementation. So here we have access to the state, and then here I'm just going to update the state as user of is equal to null. And that is it for our Redux. Awesome, right? So let's go ahead and then extract the actions. So here is going to be as export, then const, then I'm going to the structure from the offSlice.actions. Alright, is equal to that. And inside here we have access to these actions. So here is authenticated and then the logout. And let's go ahead. So let me say that get the actions, and then down here we are going to get the reducer, and it's going to be as const of reducer, and for this you can name it whatever you want, is equal to the offSlice.reducer, and let's export, and that is export const, sorry, it's supposed to be default, and then the off reducer. So we are done with our slice. We have the action to dispatch and then the logout. The last step is that we need to create the store and then mount it. So over here we have a method called configure store from Redux Toolkit. So here we will need the off reducer from our create slice, in this case this one. So now let's go ahead and then create the store, which is export const, the store is equal to configure store as a function and object, and provide what is called reducer as an object, and here specify a property. I'm going to use off and then assign the off reducer, and that is it. Last step is that let's wrap this one with our main application. So in this case it's going to be inside the main.js. Here let's require what is called provider, and the provider is a binder when working with React Redux. So here we have the provider as that. So I have to wrap with our main application. So here I will say provider, and then let's bring the app inside. And for the provider, it takes in one prop, and that is the store. And we have our store here, which is this. So let's require it as store, as that. The auto import is fine. And that is it with the Redux Toolkit configuration. Now let's make sure that everything is working fine, and let's run the application, and we don't have any error, and let's refresh it. And I think we have some error here, which is require is not a function on the off slice. I think yeah, supposed to be import, sorry guys, as Redux Toolkit and then create slice, supposed to be this one, and remove this. All right, so let's see, and now it is working. And let's go ahead and install what is called dev2 extension. For me, I have it already. As you can see, this is my dev2 extension, And this is similar to React query as you see over here. As you can see the pattern, React query and Redux have something in common. So in case you don't have the Dev2 extension for Redux, let's go ahead and install it. Click on this icon and then click on the extensions and then manage extensions. And then here, click on the Chrome store and then search for Redux. And this is the extension. Click and install, and you're going to see the icon to open to have something like this. Alright, so as you can see, this is our initial state, and then the user of is null. So as soon as we hit this endpoint, we are going to call the action called isAuthenticated and place it inside our store. Let's continue in the next video.